It's, did you exhaust all the resources? I've done everything I could. It's not for a lack of effort. If I didn't make it, I'm just not good enough. I need more time. It's not for a half-assed attempt. Like, I've exhausted all resources to be as good at that one thing as I possibly can. And I'm just not there yet. I came home one day and we kind of got into a big blowout. I don't remember what it was. It was a stack of paperwork, and he's like, "You're going to graduate high school in 2 months and you're getting out of my house." It's my junior year. The towers had just fell. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I'm done. You're out. You can join the Navy. You can get a job at Home Depot." He's like, "I don't care. You graduate in 2 months, you're out." Okay, I guess I'm going to be a SEAL. And he's like, "I don't care what you do. You don't have to be a SEAL." So when I joined, and if you talk to anybody who was in the special operations community, I'd say 90% of them, they join with a contract guaranteeing them a slot to BUD/S. Like, you're guaranteed, you graduate this, pass this test, you'll go to BUD/S. I didn't have any of that. I had nothing but waivers, and there's no guarantee, and I went to boot camp on a whim. Like, it was essentially a handshake deal. Like, yeah, when I get there, take the screen test like everybody else, and you'll pass it and you'll get through. And not advised by anybody who wants to join the military. That is not the best way to do it. Definitely not the safe option. I did. Graduated high school like 2 months later. And I think in that process, I kind of switched him. Because he didn't care what I did. Joined the Marine Corps, joined the regular Navy, I don't care. Don't go to BUD/S, go to BUD/S, I don't care. And I just started training every day. We did the most unconventional things, but I mean, he knew how to get through it. I mean, we'd sit on the living room table with, he'd put weights on the end of my feet, and I'd do ankle rotations to strengthen up your ankles for finning, swimming the fins on. Just the whole thing, just really, really getting ready for it. And I was always kind of spiritual, not religious by any stretch, but very spiritual. And I'd do these deep meditation walks where I would just envision how cold the water was, what the sand felt like, what it sounded like, because I've heard BUD/S in my mind a million times. I've seen the videos, I've grown up around it, and I knew what the end state was. I just didn't know all the different actual steps I had to take to get there. I knew we went to BUD/S, I knew all the big pieces because I've grown up in it. And a lot of that was the unknown. Like, I know, but I don't know. I understand the finished article, what I want to be. I just don't know every single step to get there. And the unknown was hard for me. From the outside looking in, it is a normal school in the military. They have a start time, they have an end time, they feed you 3 times a day. They have cadre that go home to their wives every night. I mean, it's a normal Navy school, but from the hours they have you, it doesn't feel that way. It feels like you're on an island they control. They control the weather, they control the tides, the sunset, they control it all. And whatever they want to have happen, it happens. So you'll wake up at 4 a.m. will be your first muster. You'll go do we'll call it a circle PT, basically out on a grinder, big flat top of pavement. The whole class will run in there. You have to run everywhere you go. You can't walk while you're in BUD/S. You're always jogging no matter what. If they catch you walking, it gets pretty bad. So you'll run in, you all get in formation, screaming, hooting and hollering, and some freak will walk out of that building, sipping a cup of coffee, and he's a physical phenom. At whatever it is he's about to do, he's the best at. So when they go on these runs, they'll get the fastest dude to set the pace, and he'll go down that beach at, 5.5 minute mile and cruise it the entire way. And you're blowing snot trying to catch up to him, and it looks like it's effortless. So they have this Herculean approach that you'll never be able to get there. You'll never be able to chase them. You're chasing greatness all day long is what it feels like. And then I understand the reality. Like, I know exactly what happens at the end of this course. I know exactly how that guy really is because I've got to see it. All these other guys haven't. I was like, it's not putting on a show, and in the moment, you never get to think that. Like, I know this guy. Because a lot of the instructors I actually did know. They grew up with my dad, and I knew exactly who they were, but it's so different when you're in the moment. It's like, I can't say your name, I can't ask you a question, I am just stuck in this. And that goes on and on. You basically go from meal to meal, and the evolutions get harder, the times get faster, the push-ups increase, the pull-ups increase, the runs increase, and times get faster. So the whole time you're going through, you're getting more broken down, but you're getting faster and stronger, and they're showing it. So all the standards increase. Which you could get away with 3 weeks ago, you can't get away with now. Now it's exponentially harder. So when I went out to California, I was very different than most kids. I was very young. I didn't know anything. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a cell phone. I couldn't buy anything. Couldn't buy beer, couldn't drink a beer. And I basically just sat there in that barracks room and just focused on buds. And it was not easy for me. And if I'm being honest, if I had to go through right now in the same condition I was in 2002, they wouldn't even take me now. You have to be such a physical phenom to even get orders to buds now, that my whole trajectory would have been thrown off completely. And just by the time, the place, how young I was, how fast I healed, that's really how I had a leg up on anybody. I came in 2002, did my initial block of training, came through, they let us volunteer. So we had an opportunity to check into a team early and get right into a platoon and go to Iraq early. Iraq had just kicked off, so we were just trying to rush to get in Iraq. And we didn't hear much. My dad was already retired out, so we didn't get to hear about all the daily fighting and what it was really like. So a lot of it was hearsay. A lot of it was just on the news. Or you talk to cadre, the new bud instructors that just came back from Iraq or Afghanistan, so they were like the new hotness. They'd walk around the compound, you just look at them. Dude, he just came back from Iraq. You know what I mean? It's like they always had this air of mystique to him. And then we got there. Checking into the team was different because I knew a lot of the guys. I knew a lot of the senior guys. I'd kind of grown up with them, but I'm not connected to them. It was never a, hey, what's up? It was never like that. And they made it known. Like, some of the guys I've known my entire life. And then we went to Iraq, and I felt like a fish out of water for the first couple weeks. I couldn't believe it was happening because I wanted it. Like, I wanted to go to Iraq so bad. I wanted to go to Afghanistan. I wanted to get into a fight. And then when you got there, I felt so immature. And not immature, like maturity-wise, but immature in life. Like, it was hard for me to wrap my head around because you'd hear all this stuff on the news about WMDs and oil and all of this and, you know, all this negative spin they would put on it, and none of that mattered. None of it mattered. Your political views don't matter, your religion doesn't matter, your race, color, creed doesn't matter. These dudes are trying to kill your ass all fucking day. And it was. And a lot of it you felt helpless because you would just drive these routes trying to get from base to base, and you would just see this wreckage on the side of the road. It's just, there's no way anybody survived that. Not a chance. And you're just waiting. So a lot of it, you get on these roads and you'd be on a breath hold, man, as long as you could go, and you're just these dudes would sit there on the other side of the bridge. So you would, you know, enter on the left side or enter on the right side, you'd come out on the left, and everybody would zigzag because these dudes would sit on top and they'd pull pins on grenades. And as soon as you drove through, they'd launch them, trying to land them inside of your turret. It's like, and there's just people up there the whole time. So there's nothing you can do. You can't just shoot them. They're not brandishing anything. You're just waiting for a tink, tink, and that's it. So every time you drive on them, you're just looking at these people, like waiting for something to lob over and just, oh God. And you'd hear explosions in the distance or up in front of you or behind you. And you're like, oh my God, when's it going to happen? And because of the quarantine and the lockdown they had everybody on, I mean, we went weeks. You wouldn't see anybody. You know, we'd do daytime patrol, you'd see everybody out, and then as soon as the sun would set, ghost town. I mean, nobody. We went out dozens of times. I never saw anybody. Never. You're like, what is going on here? Like, is there anybody even here? And then all of a sudden, sure as shit, you gotta give them time. Now they all start to come out. It's like, oh, okay, like this is real. These people are actually trying to kill us all, and it doesn't matter why you're here. Like, you're here to try to liberate people. You're here to try to make the country. Doesn't matter. They don't care. And once you kind of get over that, you realize that it doesn't matter why you're here. You're here, and you're gonna stay here, and you got to finish this entire job, and you got to be as safe as possible. And I think for me, that trip to 2005, you know, we lost the guys in Afghanistan, and that was a huge culture shock. That was probably the dose of reality that everybody needed, that it doesn't matter how fancy you are, how strong you are, how good you can shoot, how elite your team is. If you never get a chance to fight, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many kids you have. It doesn't matter how beautiful your wife is. gone in an instant. And that reality is really what I needed. The only thing that's going to protect me is, have I exhausted all my resources? Have I spent every single minute training as hard as I can? Have everybody here trained as hard as they could? And if not, why not? Do you not understand the reality? Or have you lost sight of it? And a lot of that, back in the day, we'd lose sight. I lost sight countless times. Drinking, fighting, doing stuff we shouldn't have been doing, not being a professional. It takes a couple times of really, really close calls or being jammed up in a bad situation and barely coming out of it to realign your focus. These are real bullets, man. Those are real grenades, and those are real people that are trying to kill you. And if you are just not better than they are, they're going to get you. And a lot of the times, it doesn't even matter. You understand it's a timing thing. And you can have the best tactic in the world, the most trained dude in the world. And if you're looking that way, when that dude comes out of that door, doesn't matter how good you are. You'll never see him coming. A lot of it, you don't want to chalk it up to fate, but a lot of it is. A lot of it you can't control. If you spend your whole time obsessing over that, it really, to me, it weeds down your confidence. It's like, I've exhausted everything I can. And if my plane gets shot down, my plane gets shot down. There's nothing I can do about that. I can't fly the plane too. Can't do it all. But have we exhausted all our resources to take out all the variables we can? Yeah. Are we all as trained as we can be? Yeah. Am I physically fit? Yeah. Am I mentally in tune with everything around me? Yes. Can't do anything more than that. Let's go. I feel like the more and more you do it, the more confidence you build after a while, but it takes a little bit. They're always calling for O negative blood every hour on the hour. And you're like, what's up with all the O negative blood? And you're like, universal donor. I'm a universal donor. I'm just over there farming out blood this whole time. It's like, because everybody's getting blown up. It's like, it's just not happening to us. We're just missing it over and over and over again. It's like, are we just that good? Are we just that lucky? That's not the truth. That's not the truth at all. They don't care who you are. It's just a timing thing. They're just waiting for the next vehicle. And we're never that next vehicle. We just missed it. And then when that helo got shot down in Afghanistan, that really was a reality check that it doesn't matter. The dudes who were on that helicopter, guys who were on the ground, were so good, so trained, so experienced, and it did not matter. The pilots, you couldn't have picked better pilots on Earth. I mean, they were the best pilots that have ever flown aircraft. They just are. Still got shot out of the sky. Doesn't matter. Like, when you take that away, you take out that blanket of, you show them that blanket of vulnerability, like, you're not invincible, dude. You are not. That patch, that flag you have on means shit. Nothing. It's not going to protect you. It will not. The only thing that's going to protect you is timing. Control the variables all you want to. If they shoot you out of the sky, it doesn't matter how tough you are on the way down. Like, well, what do we do? Control the things you can't control. Like, I control my output. I control my work effort. Like, I can put as much in this as humanly possible, and I can tell you I'll go the entire way. But if they never give me the opportunity, it's like, that's really what I struggled with, is what if I never get the opportunity to fight? What if I get blown up? I wake up, both my legs are gone, both my arms are gone. Like, I'm 19 years old. What? I don't want this to happen. That was my big fear, is that I'd get crushed, I'd get blown up, I'd get killed, and I'd never have a chance. It'd be some random new guy, some 19-year-old Navy SEAL, and flash on the screen and be gone. It's not how I want to go out. It's not how I want to. I want to get into a real fight. Like, let's really go. And when it happened, I think, for one, it confirmed a lot of the training you were doing was actually going to work. Built a little bit of confidence in the group, and confidence that I can actually pull this off. Like, that dude has been training for months to kill me. He should have, and he didn't. Okay, well, once we chalk it up to luck, see what happens 2, 3, 4, 5, over and over and over, like, still successful. Okay, like, we might be onto something here. Like, this might actually be working. And then you start to get in behind the deeper layers of it, really obsessing over the craft and really getting into it. And it's like, well, how do I buy down as much risk as possible? You live it. Become that method actor. Become Daniel Day-Lewis. Like, really, really immerse yourself in it. Really, really live it all day, every day. And you won't know the difference between training and reality. It's like, now your training becomes so realistic, it ingrains in you. You'll see guys in training that there is zero difference. If you were to record them, they don't know it, in wherever on a training mission. Flash forward to Afghanistan, the exact same scenario, you'd have no idea where they are. It looks the exact same. The mannerisms are the same. If it's a paint round going by them, like a paintball or an actual AK-47, their body change doesn't. It's the exact same. The reactions are the exact same because in their mind, it's all real. It's like when you do that, it telegraphs a positive body language you can't unsee. Once you see it, that's what everybody needs to see, exactly what he's going to do for real. And then when you see it in real time, you're like, I've seen that 55 times. I already know what this is. I already know exactly what he's going to do now. And they will. You can start to predict the future. How best can I support him? Where can I move to be at that angle? Where can I do this? Where can I do that? Because now I can read exactly what you're thinking. Because all our training is the exact same. So when I look 30 feet down the hallway and I see you doing something, I know exactly what you're thinking. I know because I've seen it 1,000 times. People take the paint rounds, the training rounds like they're paintballs. Brush it off, I'll wash my pants. It's not how it is in reality. It really did. It became hunting, is what it became. It's like you have to treat it like it's the most dangerous game you'll ever play, because it is.